on this live. We're starting with a vegan cake, so it's a vegan Victoria sponge. We've got a Biscoff cake to do, and we've also got a salted caramel chocolate cake to do. So we're starting with this one because this one I can't do the actual decorations on yet because they need to be delivered tonight. There's some bottles which I need to get delivered, so I'm going to do the final coat, shove it in the fridge, and then it means I can kind of forget about it and get the other two done, and then once all the stuff's delivered then I can finish this off. So they're all 6-inch cakes. As you can see, they're 6-inch and then they're 7.5 inches tall. They sometimes vary ever so slightly, but yeah, they're all 6-inch cakes, and then like I say, 7 to 8 inches tall. Hey girl, I love your channel. Oh, thank you. I just realised I don't have my iPad, so we're gonna have to, I don't think it's charged either, so we're gonna have to work with the comments on here rather than on my iPad. But yeah, so I've got the buttercream here for the final coat on this vegan cake, so we're just gonna start applying this and then we're gonna get on to the two others. We might have to do a bit of buttercream making throughout, but I wanted to just get on live, so I've had loads to do today, that's why I'm on live a bit later than expected. So I'm going to pan you down a little bit just so that you can see the cake a bit more. So there you go. But as usual, feel free to ask any questions throughout. So we're just going to go in I'm hoping that I have enough of this vegan one just to do the coating on the outside. So so good to catch your live. It's 3:30 here in Australia, but worth it. Oh my god, it's 3 AM. So we're doing 3 cakes. This one is Victoria sponge. It's a vegan cake, so it's got jam in the middle, and then we've got a Biscoff cake in the fridge, which is fully Biscoff, and then we have a chocolate and salted caramel. So the chocolate and salted caramel is chocolate sponge and then salted caramel filling. Do you add any liquid like milk to your standard non-vegan buttercream, or do you just add less icing sugar to get the right consistency? So I never add milk to any of, or milk or hot water to any of my icings. I just don't like the way it makes your consistency, because I feel like it melts easier, whereas if it's a stiffer consistency and it's only 2 ingredients, then the butter takes more time to melt than the milk does. I feel like the milk just makes it a bit too soft. So I prefer to not add anything. So yeah. My sister didn't shut the dog out. So we're gonna have to get her back in, ignore that. So, right, I'm just getting my scraper. I'm gonna shut the kitchen door, bear with me. So, we're just gonna smooth this all out. Yeah, she's under the chair. Just covering up any little potholes. What occasion is this for? This is for a birthday. It's a 30th birthday. Flies. So yeah, it's a 30th birthday. 2 of them are 30th birthdays, and then one of them, I don't know what the other one is. I think it's just, it might be a 60th, I'm not sure. How are you managing to keep the buttercream from melting? With lots of difficulty, I will have you know. So, sorry, just reading messages. So I just keep them in the fridge as long as possible, and try to avoid keeping them out. So literally once this is iced, it's going back in the fridge. So it will be a bit of a quicker process, I'm hoping, because yeah, I do not want to leave them out for very long. To be fair, it's quite cool now. Even though it's still like 25 degrees, it's definitely got a bit cooler than it was earlier. So we're lucky, but it was really hot between 1 and 5. How many cakes did you bake for this one? The vegan one was only 3 layers, but that's because the layers were very big, whereas all of my other cakes are all 4 layers, and they're all 1.5 inches tall each, which, like I say, roughly makes them 7.5 to 8 inches tall once they got buttercream in between them all. So that is smooth. So we are going to, oh, there's 2 holes, 2 little air bubbles. And I want to sort you out. Put that there. So that is all smooth, so I'm just going to smooth out the top, and then it's going back in the fridge. Doesn't matter too much about the top because it's actually going to be covered by the drip, because they're all fully loaded cakes, so you won't actually see the top of it. But yeah, that one is all done. So that one is going back in the fridge, and then I think it doesn't really matter which one we start on. I think I'm going to go for the Biscoff because the icing is already done. So we've got the Biscoff here. So I'm just going to move this icing to one side. And then I'm going to get the other icing out the fridge. I'm trying to set up a business, but I find it hard to price them. I see other bigger bakers price their brownies so cheap. I find it so hard to match their price, especially considering I can't bulk buy. Literally, whenever you're thinking about pricing, don't think about anyone else. That is, it's very easy to do, like I did it as well, but it's so hard to compare yourself to other people because you're not going to be the same. You're a different skill set. You buy your ingredients from other places. It takes you a different amount of time to make it. They might be really quick. That's why they price them cheaply, because they're basing it on their hourly rate, whereas if you take longer, then you're gonna obviously need to be paid more. So try and do your pricing as an individual. Don't look at other people's, even though it's so easy to, because obviously it's a guide price. So I would say work out your ingredients, work out the time it takes you, and then add on a bit of profit. Brownies is very difficult because they're a small item, same with cupcakes, but I would say to price brownies no less than £2.50, and that's based on the way that they look. Feel free to take a look at mine. Mine are priced at £3 each, and they used to be £2.50 and now they're £3, and that just is what works for me. But like I say, I started at £2.50 and no one had any issues paying that. So I would say that you can easily price at £2.50. So yeah, I would work out your own prices. Don't go too cheap, because they might be cheap because they want more orders, and that's kind of not the way to go. But yeah, the dogs are barking, which is really annoying me. But we're going to get the Biscoff buttercream out, and then we're going to start on this one. Cleo! That's my attempt to get my dog in. To get the height, did you bake 4 tins of sponge? Yes, for this one I did, but for the vegan one, vegan and gluten-free cakes, I find always kind of like rise a lot. So I don't usually have to do as many layers of those. For the vegan cake, I only did 3 layers and it was the same height, and that's because they're all 2 inches each. But for standard cakes, I always do 4 layers. And that will get you, if you're similar to mine, then that will get you a 7-inch or 8-inch tall cake roughly. So this has obviously been in the fridge, so it's going to need a minute just to sit. What do you use instead of eggs for vegan? So vegan is very complicated. You can't just switch. I have tried various egg substitutes and they just haven't worked. I've tried the chickpea, I've tried all sorts, and it's just doesn't work. So I find that I have to do a completely different recipe. It's something that has oil, it has soy milk, it has loads of flour in it, doesn't have any butter of any sort, not even like a vegan one, and it also doesn't have any egg substitutes in it. It has a lot of oil. The oil usually acts as the butter in that case, but yeah, vegan recipes are quite difficult. This is the one that I've managed to like get down, and what I do is I just switch it. So I had to adjust it quite a bit to get it to work, and then I just add cocoa powder to it to make it chocolate, and add Biscoff to make it Biscoff. But apart from that, I don't do any other vegan flavours just because they are a bit of a pain. So yeah, that's on that, but vegan ones can be very difficult. The Biscoff cake is a completely different recipe, yes. It has Biscoff biscuits in it, it's different measurements. Yeah, it's a completely different recipe, because I found that it wasn't Biscoff enough if I just added to my vanilla cake. I'm trying to start selling my brownies by post, but I can't get my head around how to even do that and labels. I would say start on Etsy or your own website, but your own website is difficult because obviously you have to get the traffic. I get more sales on my website than I do Etsy, but that's because I started on Etsy. And in regards to the labels, you don't have to do what I do. I do more than I actually need to. So I do a full ingredients list, not the type that you get on the back of a packet. I do full ingredients as in like cocoa powder, eggs, butter, etc. Rather than just allergens. I do allergens as well, but you don't actually have to do that. You just have to put your allergens. However, I would be wary because I've had quite a few. I had one brownie tray where it was for I think it was meant to be gluten-free. So I did gluten-free, posted it to her, and then because I had the full ingredients list, it turned out that it was meant to be gluten-free and dairy-free. It's not my fault because obviously it wasn't ordered as that. It was ordered as gluten-free, so it's the person who bought it as a gift's fault. However, that is such a common thing. I get so many that buy it as a gift, so you've got to be really wary that people don't buy it as a gift and then they don't understand someone's allergens. And then if you don't have a full allergen list, then it's not going to necessarily be on there. Because like things like milk and stuff, that would be on allergens because I'm producing it in a kitchen that handles milk. But they might not realise that it actually has butter in it, because if they've ordered, say, gluten-free or dairy-free, then they might not realise. So yeah, it's always good to have a full list of ingredients just because it covers you. It means that you've told them exactly what's in there, because I do worry that if a friend orders it for someone, then you're going to have an issue if they've got an allergen. So, right, this is very hard. I should have got this out a little bit earlier, so we're going to have to do a bit of mixing with this. How's the other business going? What one do you mean? I've got various things that I do alongside. I'm going to add a teeny bit of hot water to that. With the clay, I just don't have time, if I'm completely honest, to make any of the clay things. I am going to be doing some resin bits just because it's a lot quicker, and it's something that, even though it takes the same amount of time in terms of curing, it means that I can leave it overnight, so I don't actually have to do anything with it when it's curing. Whereas the clay, whilst it was curing, you had to sand it down, you had to do like coats on it as like a glaze. So yeah, it was a lot more work, and they're usually priced a lot higher as well, and I just felt like the market wasn't there for it. But yeah, I'm going to be doing resin, but I'm doing it slightly different because I've seen loads of resin things, and they're not the same as what I'm doing, so I'm adding different things to it, which will link to my cake business, if you can probably guess. But I didn't want to do ones with like dried flowers and stuff, so I've made it kind of like my own, and I haven't seen anyone do it. It might just be that I haven't seen anyone, but haven't seen anyone do what I'm going to do. So they'll be sold on my website. So yeah, the stuff actually arrived today, and I'm going to do it over the weekend. I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, and then we're going to add some hot water to our icing. So yes. Right, so we're adding a teeny bit of hot water in there. And for those of you that don't know, I've got a festival tomorrow. So that's why I've got to get all these cakes finished, because I'm going to a festival tomorrow. I have a situation, I'm starting my cake business, but I need a new job. I want a baking job, as that's my passion, but I don't want them to think I'm stealing their ideas, recipes, etc. That was kind of similar to me, and I would say get a part-time job, because the only thing that that's going to do is hinder your business, because if you ever want to start a business, you're going to need time. So what I did is I had a part. So yeah, I actually got approached by someone, but I decided to turn it down in the end, because I realized, one, it's going to take up a lot of my time, and two, they're going to probably steal all my recipes. So I would say focus on yourself and don't get into, unless you actually want to work for someone and you don't want to have your own baking business, then I would say don't work for someone. Because if you're even thinking about starting your own baking business, you're not going to have the time if you're working for someone. And also it's draining to do like full time and then try and run a business. And yeah, it just, I feel like sometimes when you make a hobby a job, you lose that passion for it. And I've eased into mine. Like, obviously I started off, like, I wasn't as busy as I am now, so I've gradually built up that love for it. But I think if you go into full-time working for someone else, then you're just going to be like, I don't want to do this, and then it might ruin the passion that you had for baking. How long does it take for you to bake, cool and decorate a 6-inch cake? Obviously I'm on live, so it takes a lot longer. But to bake is half an hour. To cool is a couple of hours, because I like them to be fully cool, because otherwise they go a bit too like soggy. So I let them completely cool, and then I shove them in the fridge once they're cool. But I do that all overnight, so I did that all last night, and it didn't actually use any of my time because I was doing other stuff. And then to crumb coat is about 15 minutes, and then to final coat is again about 15 minutes, and then to decorate is about half an hour. So I would say an hour of actually icing, and then I would say maybe like an hour of baking, cooling, tidying, etc. I'm only popping that in the fridge because this icing has taken ages to come to room temperature. Yeah, this is taking so long. I should have got it out the fridge earlier. It's because the fridge is so cold and it's so hot out here, so it's just taking a little while. We have very thick icing. I'm going to mix it a little bit, so you're going to hear that, so I'm sorry about that. I'm going to mix it a little bit on my KitchenAid. I took the plunge and registered with the council, and now I want to go and bleach the whole kitchen. Oh my god. I did the same thing. Like, I literally, once I registered, they didn't get in contact with me for ages, and then when they did get in contact with me, I spent the whole week cleaning my house, and they even said, they were like, this is like a show home, why is it this clean? And I was like, because I was stressed. Like, I literally went around with a toothbrush cleaning things that I did not need to clean. But yeah, I was so worried, but it's nothing to worry about. It's actually really like not that stressful. Yeah, it's nothing to worry about, but I know the feeling of feeling like you need to worry. Right, it's all ready. Oh, it's still very, very stiff. I actually use my boyfriend's kitchen as he works so much and the kitchen is never used. Is that okay? Yeah, I assume so. It's a business address, so technically it doesn't actually need to be your home address because it's your business, so it's slightly different. But yeah, I don't see that there's any issue with that. Right, so we have our buttercream. Thank you gave me the confidence to take my business further and do everything properly, so thank you. Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, I just think things like registering and stuff like that, it's so easy that it's just better to do it the proper way, and especially if it does turn into something, then at least you've done it the proper way and then you don't have any kind of like hurdles to get over later down the road, because a lot of these like hobby bakers I think are now finding that they need to register if they actually want it to go any further. How do you find the other mixer performs? So there is a review coming up, but it's all right. So obviously I'm used to a KitchenAid, so there are things that I personally notice which other people probably won't notice. So for cake mix, it's perfect, like it's amazing. I love it for mixing cakes. However, for buttercream, it's a little bit slow. The mixer goes on quite a low speed, which obviously will be slow. But I just find it's a lot slower than my someone just asked to collect a cake early, and that is going to be a problem. So yeah, I like it for cake mix but not for buttercream, but that's mainly because the paddle on the end, as you can probably see in the corner here behind the cake, it hasn't got a silicone edge, whereas my KitchenAid one has a silicone edge, which obviously makes my life a lot easier because it scrapes the bowl as it goes round. So that's kind of the main factor for me. It's called Elegant Life, and it was one that was gifted to me. I actually had an issue because someone bought it off of my video, and then they can't find it on Amazon. So I think the listing's been taken down, or the link that I've got is wrong. So I've asked them for another link, but yeah, at the moment I'm still waiting for more info. So yeah, that is interesting. So I'm trying to get them to send me another link so that I can link it for you guys so that you know where it's from. But like I say, I'm having a little bit of issue because the link that they sent me is not working. I'm doing this so messily. This is going to be interesting. Sometimes I use a piping bag, and then sometimes, like today, it's just too hot to mess around with a piping bag. How long have you been baking, and when did you first start getting into it? I started last May, and then I started my business in June last year. So not very long at all. I just kind of wing it. I think the KitchenAid is the boss. Tell me about it. I love my KitchenAid. So I don't think I will ever downgrade at all just because I love it so much. But yeah, I do get that it is nice to have an affordable option, which is why I was happy to review that one. Because when I do the review, obviously if someone buys it and it's great for them, and it's more affordable, then that's perfect. So yeah, we will see, but it will all come out in the review, because you'll be able to see how it works and how it performs. So what am I doing? So I got one a few months ago and I don't know how I lived without. What KitchenAid? I love KitchenAid so much. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, I love my KitchenAid so much. I can't wait to just buy attachments for it. That's one thing that I'm looking forward to when I feel like it, because I mean at the moment I probably don't need the attachments, and the new machine's got loads of attachments, so I definitely don't actually need any extras, but it's always nice. So top is done. Everything is falling. Can you post more day in the life videos? Really enjoyed those. I'm actually currently filming one. I'm filming one for these cakes, which is probably not going to have crazy amounts in it, but yes, it will be going up next week. Have we got any more air bubbles? There's one little bubble, which is just annoying me. Right. One more spray, and then we are ready to go. So, that one is also done. So I'm just gonna flatten the top, and then we will be on to the ombre cake. what flavour is that cake? This one is Biscoff, and then we're moving on to the chocolate and salted caramel. I find this very therapeutic. I know, a lot of people do. Yeah, I love watching decorating videos. Which Finch Bakery scrapers do you have? I just bought the medium stripe and the colossal one. I don't know what the colossal one is. So I have the bubble scraper, which is this one. Then I have the medium stripe, and then I have the large stripe. I don't know where it is, but I have the large stripe, which is, each stripe is like 3 of these. And then I have the scallop scraper, which is basically the bubble scraper but the other way, so you're making scallops into the buttercream rather than creating bubbles outwards. But I absolutely love them. So I've got 4 in total. How do you build up the confidence to do cake orders? I love doing cakes but scared that they won't turn out how they imagined. The thing is, when you start out, people don't expect you to be good. Like, the whole point is you're starting out, so I would just say you've got to start somewhere. So obviously base your pricing off of your skill. That's the way that it works. So if you're more skilled, then charge more, and if you're not, then charge less. Obviously charge your time, make sure that you're not giving it away for free, but you just build up your audience that way. That's how I did it. I mean, I am always a very outgoing person. I just kind of do whatever I want, and then if it goes wrong, then I think about it afterwards. I don't usually think about things before I do them. So if I'm completely honest, I just started making cakes, hope that they were good, and I've never had a bad review, so hopefully that carries on. Sorry if this is personal, but when you first went full-time baking, was you scared you weren't going to earn enough to live and pay bills? Takes a lot to just leave a job, doesn't it? Obviously I was worried, and there were times where it was really hit or miss, really low income, when I was first starting out, because my bills were very high. My bills used to be, and they kind of still are, about £600 a month. So if you think I need to be, in order to actually live, I need to be earning at least £1,000 a month, which when you're starting a business is a lot, because that's a lot of orders. So it was tough, but I had a part-time job in the beginning. I didn't have it for the first 3 months, and then I got it for 2 months, and then I left it again because I didn't like the fact that I was allocating all of my time to this part-time job, which wasn't helping my business. But in the new year, I was like, right, I'm going to dedicate all my time to this business, and then it's kind of like I manifested it because it's just gone up since then. So yeah, I think you just have to trust that it's going to go well and put the time into it. I put a lot of time into this business. All of my free time is spent looking at cake related stuff, not in a sad way, but I love watching YouTube videos. I love learning new things in my spare time. So it just kind of shows that that's going to be put into the business and help it grow. But yeah, I think it's definitely a worry, but you just have to either take the leap or not. And also I was so miserable in my last job that I kind of had to leave for my mental health. Otherwise I think I would have got a bit stir crazy. So it was one or the other. I thought that it was less important to pay my bills. I think it was my brother that said, he was like, your health is more important than paying your bills. So if it's more important for you to be in a happier job, then definitely just go for it, and hopefully you've got someone that will be happy to support you. How do you transport your cakes when delivering them? Either in the footwell or in the boot. I never do it in the boot just because I'm a control freak and it just scares me putting them in the boot, so I always put them in the footwell. But yeah, just cold car in the footwell, in their box. That's pretty much it. How much do you charge for this Biscoff cake? I think this Biscoff cake was £65, and that's with a topper, pretty sure. Yeah, £65 for a 6-inch drip cake. My prices have gone up by about £5, but they've pretty much been that much for a while. Do you put money aside for profit and money aside for ingredients, etc.? It's so hard being self-employed. I use the deposit, as my deposit used to be £20, now it's 50%, which is obviously more than £20 usually. But I don't put money aside, I just buy the stuff in advance. So if there's toppers on it, then I make the toppers in advance. If there's flowers, anything like that, I buy them in advance so that it comes out of the deposit that they've paid. And then when I get the final payment a week before, that is my profit for my time, because I don't have to buy anything. I might have to buy a few ingredients, but most of the time I just have the ingredients. I don't buy ingredients for a cake. I buy them as like a stock check. So I will go, right, I always have like 5 butters in the fridge, which is enough to make a 8-inch cake, because it means that if someone comes last minute, then I can make it. So I always have enough to make one cake in the fridge, whether I'm actually making orders or not, just so that I have like an kind of like a float of stuff. So yeah, I never buy ingredients last minute anyway. When it comes to vegan bakes, how strict are you with ingredients? For example, cocoa powder, most of them say may contain. So you can't, it's not how strict I am, it's a dietary requirement. So if it says may contain, you can't use it. And yeah, you shouldn't use anything that is may contain, just because it's not necessarily that it's a choice. Some people aren't vegan by choice. They're vegan because they're allergic to eggs, they're allergic to dairy, anything like that. So that's why you cannot kind of like interpret on those sorts of things, because like this vegan cake, I know the person, so I know that it is a dietary requirement, but I still wouldn't put anything in there that is may contain, because I know that when I was vegan, I wouldn't have wanted anyone to put a little bit of dairy in my things by accident. If I was ordering something, I would want it to be vegan, not like vegan but may contain. Where do you get your toppers from? I make them all on my Cricut. Do you earn more from your postal brownies or the cake decorating? Definitely the cakes. Cakes have way more profit because you're paid, I get paid £15 an hour for cakes, so I definitely don't get that on brownies. If someone orders a brownie, it could take me an hour to do, like to bake and decorate, and I'm getting £11 for a tray, which by the time you've taken ingredients off of that, it's about £8. So I get a lot less doing brownies. So I've actually been toning down my postals a little bit because I would prefer to take on cake orders. So sometimes I close them early, or I just like don't sort of promote them that much because I would prefer to do cakes. You're so inspiring. Watching your videos has really helped me start my own business. I'm actually making my own business. I'm actually making an order right now. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm inspiring. That's really nice to hear. Sorry, I just had a message from someone regarding some bottles, so I might have to quickly reply to that whilst we're on live. How long ago did you start your business? I started in June last year. Sorry about that, I had to reply. Someone is dropping off some bottles, so we need the other buttercream, and then we're going to start on the other cake. just while I'm on here, I thought I'd show you. Me and my mum, hers has been eaten now, but we did a bake-off. So me and her did a bake-off, and it was decorating only because it would take too long for YouTube. But this is what I made. So we both had to make the same size cake, had to have all the same stuff on it apart from toppings, and then you could change the colour of the drip. But yeah, so this was my one. So I will be putting up the video on Tuesday, so you'll see it then. But that was our little bake-off that we did. So yeah, but we only did small 4-inch cakes. 1, because we had to eat them, and 2, because I didn't want to make it too tall, because my mum might actually knock it over if we did it too tall. It's a dream of mine to do this as a job. Just need the confidence. Your videos are very informative and inspiring. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Well, I hope that you take the leap, because it is definitely enjoyable doing it as business. How do you deal with the dog hair? My dog comes every weekend, and I'm so scared his hairs will go in my bakes. My dogs are non-molting. Sorry to rub that in. But yeah, they're non-molting, so yeah, literally they don't molt at all, so their hair doesn't get on anything. So it's kind of great. So I always say this, but I try and keep them out as much as possible, but because I'm in the kitchen, which is a direct exit to the garden, sometimes they get let out whilst I'm baking to go to the toilet. But I never find it much of a big deal, because they go straight out. Obviously I don't touch them. They can't get on the worktops because they're too high, and they don't molt. But if you do have molting dogs, then it can be a pain, and you sort of have to lock them out of the kitchen and stuff. But yeah, luckily mine don't molt. Your thoughts on syrup on the cake layers? What do you suggest to stop the cake from drying out? I've never had issues of it drying out, so I just don't add anything to it. I've never tried syrup, and I worry that it would just make the cake really moist, so I just haven't tried it. I heard you can't feed your pet in the same areas you cook. I mean, I don't feed my dog in the kitchen anyway. My mum feeds hers in the main kitchen, which is not where I bake. I bake in the extension, so yeah, I think it depends on where you're feeding and like how big your kitchen is. I obviously don't bake in the same area as I feed them. But again, that was never mentioned by my inspector, so if it's not mentioned during your inspection, then I wouldn't worry. I think someone's at the door, so I'm gonna go and get that, and they'll be back. So it wasn't actually my person, my dog was just barking for no reason, so the person dropping off bottles isn't here. I live in a rented flat. I want to start a cake business, but wondering if I need to tell my landlord. I never speak to them, not sure. Yes, if you're renting, you do have to let them know, because the way that it works is it's for insurance purposes. Obviously, if someone, say you were running a business where people came onto your premises, obviously a cake they don't, but if you were running something where they came into your house, say, and they got injured, then that would be on the landlord. So I know that's unlikely, but it just means that it has to be informed to them. So for a cake business, it would be, say there was a fire, say you had a fire because your oven was on, then obviously your landlord would know that you were running a business, and it's all to do with liability, who's responsible for it, all that kind of stuff. It's so complicated, but yes, you have to let them know. It's different if you own your home. So ours we own, so it's slightly different, but if you have a landlord, then yeah, you definitely have to let them know, because it is basically their house. That's the way that you've got to think of it. do you make your own salted caramel or what do you use? Mine's flavouring, really simple. Yeah, I just use flavouring and add it to normal buttercream just because it's easiest and I think it tastes the nicest. I do want to get some kind of like syrup, like salted caramel, like actual caramel syrup that I can put in there, but it's something that I need to try out and I don't have the time. So at the moment I just do salted caramel icing. So we have our buttercream. Is it a requirement to have liability insurance or is it a recommendation? I think it's a requirement as far as I'm aware, but you can ask your inspector. But wherever I go, whether it's like markets, anything like that, they always ask if I have insurance, and they actually asked it when I registered with the council. They called me up and asked if I had insurance. Liability insurance is basically if someone was to have an allergic reaction and they tried to sue you for hospital costs or anything like that, and you're not insured, then you're not insured. So one, you're not covered for legal fees. Two, technically you shouldn't be running because you're not insured by any like governing body to actually run your cake business and supply to people. So it's very, very difficult. I'm pretty sure it's a requirement. But yeah, when you're dealing with food, you have to be insured. Like, it's £10 a month, but it is so worth it. Because like I say, if anyone has an allergic reaction and they try and take me to court, then I'm covered up to 5 million. So I have a lot of cover. I pay £20 a month because I want the extra, but that's because I do markets and it's slightly different if you do markets. But like I say, if you're not insured, then if someone tried to sue you, you'd be pretty much stuffed. So it's just not worth it. What you got to think about is if it did go badly, would it be worth that £10 a month? And like for the aggro that it would cause you to not be insured if you were to have a bad situation like that, it's just so much easier just to pay the £10 a month, or in my opinion it is. So I would definitely recommend just paying it. But yes, I'm pretty sure it's a requirement. So on to the next one. I might have to wash up a bowl because I do not have space for all these buttercreams. Oh, I think my person might be here. I'm gonna wait until the Ring doorbell goes off. Oh, there we go. BRB. Right, my mum got the goods, so we have the gin bottles. How do you get insured? So I'm insured with Simply Business. You can get insured with various people, but yeah, I'm insured with Simply Business. So I just go on their website, put in what cover I want. When I first started, did it for 1 million, but you can do it for more if you need it, but I only did 1 million and then I upped it when I started doing markets. Right, I need a bowl. Another bowl. Right. I'm just warming this up a little bit so that it melts slightly because it's been in the fridge. So we need a spatula. Does buttercream stress you out in the heat? Not really. On a normal day, even if it isn't as hot as it is, I would have my cake in the fridge all the time. I never leave them at room temperature. I never leave them out for crazy amounts of time. So I'm kind of used to it, like always having it in the fridge. So when all I have to do is just make sure that customers know, because obviously they might not take it seriously, but just make sure that they're putting it in the fridge when they get home. So yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Right, I'm gonna switch. God, I've got so many buttercreams on the go that I just don't have enough bowls. Right, we need to free up my KitchenAid. And then I need to quickly wash this, and then we'll be decorating. Once we get onto the drips and things, it will be a lot easier, but the buttercream is just a pain because I need to make and whip up buttercream, and I don't have enough bowls. We're done. Sorry guys, I had to do a bit of washing up. I've been wanting to start a business for a while now, but I get put off by pricing, thinking I will end up charging too much, too little. Sorry if you've gone over this. So you want to price based on your hourly rate, based on your skill. So your hourly rate is based on how good you are basically, or how much you think you're worth. I started on like £9 an hour because I wasn't like as good as I am now, and then now I'm on 15. So you can literally price things to be whatever you want. That's the way you got to think of it. If you want to charge £30 for a cake, you can charge £30. If you want to charge 100, you can charge 100. People will either pay or they won't. That's the way that it works. You might find that you price really, really high and people still pay it. I used to get people moaning about pricing, and now I'm double the price and people don't even batter an eyelid. People say, oh my god, that's amazing, great. It just depends, but I think as long as your skill matches your price, then you're fine. So just make sure that you're not overcharging for your actual skill. If you're just starting out, then I would say £10 an hour. And then you want to add your profit, you want to add the ingredient costs, all of that. But if you are like good, and that's not to say that other people aren't good, but that means like good in terms of like maybe you've got a year's experience, then you can charge more. But yeah, I would say that it doesn't really matter too much, because I honestly wouldn't worry about what people think. If people think you're too overpriced, then that's fine, because 6 months down the line you might go, you know what, I'm going to put my prices down because I think they're a bit high. But it's better to start off at whatever you want to start off at, because then it means that you're going to be earning what you want to earn. So yeah, I would just price how you want, and then you'll soon find out whether it's too high or too little, because if it's too high, then people won't be ordering, and if it's too little, I would say you'd probably get lots of orders, but it can also sometimes deter people because they wonder, why is it so cheap? Just mix this up. Did you have a specific amount of money you wanted to put away before starting a business? And did you have any creative ways of getting those funds? No, I didn't fundraise or anything like that. I didn't have any money, if I'm completely honest. Like, I literally had zero money because I quit my job to start my business. So it wasn't a planned thing. I was just desperate to leave, so I just picked the first thing that came to mind, and that was baking. And then it's kind of taken off now, so I'm sticking with it. But yeah, I would recommend putting a little bit away, mainly for like a mixer, stuff like that. But it's not essential because like I say, I had literally no money, so, and it worked out for me. So just going to mix that up. I'm gonna get a drink. Right. God, your mixer is so quiet compared to mine. Really? I think that's loud. That's why I thought that Elegant Life one was loud, but it's because it's just louder than my KitchenAid. I do actually need to call KitchenAid though, because mine occasionally makes a really like high-pitched whining sound, and it's just like a fault. I know that other people's don't do it, so it's probably that I just got a bad batch, but it's come a year after having it, so I'm gonna call them up and say, why is it making this noise? Can you give me a new one, basically? Because it shouldn't be doing that. But apart from that, it only does that if it's got like a large load in it, but it should be also able to take the amount that I'm putting in it. I literally can't have the conversation with my partner in the kitchen when it's on. Oh my god, that is loud. Yeah, I mean, I've never known any different. I always feel bad putting this on. Like, whenever I put this on and there's people in the kitchen, I'm like, sorry. That's all mixed up. Thank you for all your videos and how to get the 5-star ratings and everything I needed to know for starting up. You're the only one that I found with the information that I needed. Thank you. A lot of people tell me that, so I'm glad that it's helpful. That's what I aim to do. Did you start off with your website? I started selling brownies and putting on Facebook. I don't put on Facebook just because I feel like it does, like a Facebook page is fine, but I wouldn't put it on like Facebook Marketplace. I have cakes on there, like literally I have an advertisement, so I have like birthday cake, and then it's free, it's got photos of my cakes, it says 5-star hygiene, based on Hayden Hill, all of this stuff. And then it says inquire through my website, because I don't want them to inquire through Facebook, just because I feel like sometimes a lot of people, I still get messages where people message me saying like, will it be ready today? And I'm like, no, it's not a cake that's already ready. You're actually ordering it, if that makes sense. So my friends and family can buy, but I don't trust Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I would recommend having an Instagram. That's my most popular. I get a lot of orders through Instagram, very rarely through Facebook, but I would make a Facebook page. There's no harm, it's really quick, and you can post photos on there, and then it's not on your personal page as well. And then, like I say, you can eventually get a website when you feel ready. Oh. So I am going to need more buttercream. We've established that. So I'm using soft caramel. It's not actually yellow. It doesn't go that colour. It goes like a brownie kind of colour. Actually, more like an orange, I'd say. So this is the colour that it goes. So yeah, it's more of an orange than the colour that it shows on the packet. Right, so yeah, we do not have enough. So we're going to make a little bit more buttercream. I'm going to colour this all, this colour, and then we're going to make some more, and we're going to pipe that on whilst it's making. Oh yeah, and if you didn't notice, I have my little cake plan here. That's what my cake plan is. So I've got date to bake, what it is, any extras, the topper, delivery, and then whether it's been paid in full. So let me quickly put the butter in there, and then I will answer any questions while that's mixing. So, do I store my vegan ingredients completely separate from non-vegan ingredients? Is it a requirement? So I was never advised that I had to do that. Obviously vegan, like I say, if they're all sealed, then there's no way that it can be contaminated, because I only put sealed packets in my bottom drawer, and my bottom drawer only has boxed chocolates in. So for an example, this is what's in my bottom drawer. So they're not open. They're like open boxes, but the chocolates aren't actually open, so they can't contaminate the vegan stuff, because the vegan stuff is all sealed packets like this, and then obviously these are sealed boxes, but I wouldn't put it in there with, like, if it was open, I wouldn't put it in there. I would put it in a Ziploc bag, if you know what that is. So I put it in one of those little like resealable bags, and I put the bar in there, and then it means that it's not open, it's in like a sealed bag. But yeah, my inspector was happy with that. They're all very different, so I would say that you'd have to ask yours, because some of them are more strict than others. I'm lucky my mum and dad said they will give me a few thousand each to set up my business. I'm lucky I don't want to come across as spoiled, but I'm scared I'll fail and lose their money. honestly, you won't even need that much. So if they're giving you that, then you probably won't even make a dent in that, and that means that you'll have a bit of a saving as like a backup. But I would recommend starting promoting as soon as possible, and then it means that when you do eventually either quit your job or get something part-time, then you're gonna already have started your business. Do you slice your cakes in half and then stack? No. So my cakes bake in different tins. I do 4 tins and they all bake to be around 2 inches tall. So then it means that I don't have to cut them. I just cut the tops off so that they're level. Do you have to record when you have cleaned your kitchen for the inspection? No. You have a planned schedule in place. So they ask to see your cleaning schedule. So I have a cleaning schedule, which is like what I clean on what days, what products I use. So that is something that's in the Safer Food Better Business Pack. So if you go and watch my video on that, you'll see the cleaning schedule in it. But yeah, they don't like get you to record it or anything. Did you design your own logo? I'm not very artistic and wouldn't know where to start. I got mine on Etsy. I didn't design it. I got it from someone on Etsy. I don't actually think she's trading anymore, but yeah, she was really lovely and did it for me. What's your dream job? Honestly, just working for myself. I don't really have anything in mind. I love what I currently do. I'd love to just do cakes every day and not have to do anything else. If I can employ someone to do all the admin and everything, then I would. So fingers crossed I can do that eventually. But yeah, I always wanted to work for myself. I didn't really mind what I was doing. But yeah, just working for myself basically. Are you going to fit? Bit tight. Always do that. I always overfill the bag. Right, that is the coloured bag, and then we're just making the other buttercream for the lighter coat. I live with my boyfriend in a small flat, but yes, celiac disease is a nightmare baking. Your boyfriend has celiac, so you're jealous that I have a separate kitchen. I mean, mine is technically the same kitchen. You would probably still have issues if you have issues there. Unfortunately, I do use the same sink, I use the same oven. It's just the actual prep area which is different. I'm assuming he has it quite bad in terms of like if there's any traces as well, because I mean, I know people that can eat it and not have too bad a reaction, but it just depends on how bad they are. So yeah, I'm assuming that makes it very difficult. But if you can turn, if you have the ability to, maybe in the future, you can turn another room into a baking room and then just use the oven and like the sink, say, but then everything else is just done in your baking room. That's the only thing I can suggest, really. I'm just making some more buttercream. Right, second layer is done. Move this bowl. Right, got our icing ready for the last one. I just need to check my messages because I'm still waiting for someone to drop off some bottles and it's getting late, so. Okay, so they haven't messaged me, so I might have to message them. Right, so I'm gonna fill up. Right, so we've got our two colours. How do you handle the financial slash tax side of running your own business? Do you pay an accountant or do you handle that side of things yourself? I do it myself. I actually worked in accounting for 5 years, so since I was 16. So I actually know quite a bit about tax. So yeah, I will be doing it all myself. I've got to do my tax return by January. January 2022, so I'm going to be doing all that myself, which should be very interesting. I'm still waiting for my inspection. I'm really hoping I get a high rating as I put in so much work into making sure I do everything correct. Made my first 3-tier the other day and was so happy with it. That's amazing. I'm sure you will. How do you apply for a hygiene rating? You get inspected once you've registered. So once you're registered, they'll contact you to inspect and then they'll give you the hygiene rating. But yeah, usually as long as your place is clean, then you shouldn't have any issues getting a 5-star. As long as you've got all your cleaning schedule, everything like that in place, usually they just give you a 5 anyway, because as long as you're doing everything correctly, then there's nothing for them to kind of like challenge, basically. So do you have to scrub your oven for 5 stars? I did. However, they didn't even look in the oven, but I spent ages scrubbing my oven because I was so worried that they were going to like pick a tiny mark. But yeah, I would just say as long as everything is clean. How do you get funding to start? How to get funding to start my business? I didn't have any funding to start mine. Obviously orders pay for stuff, so I would just say start promoting yourself on your personal Instagram, and then you will eventually get customers, and then practice lots, things like that. Make sure you're taking lots of photos of your work, and then obviously you'll be able to promote it on your socials, and then hopefully you'll get some orders. So still no message. Right, we're getting the cake out now. So another 6-inch cake. I did mine tonight, burnt my fingers with chemicals. Oh, did you wear gloves? Because to be fair, I've never used anything that I've burnt my hands on, so I'm not sure what you used, but hopefully it wasn't anything too painful. I used like an oven bright, which is like an oven cleaner kit, but yeah, that's with gloves. It's nothing too harmful. What website do you go on to for the hygiene rating? You go onto the Gov UK, and then you register your business on the Gov UK website, and then they will contact you for an inspection. Scissors. So this is an ombre, so we're just going to be piping this like 1/3 of the way up, and then the rest will be white. Right, that is all of the... They ripped. I have burns already on my hands from baking. Oh my god, that sounds so painful. I hope that you're alright. I'm going to Mallorca tomorrow. Oh, that's exciting. I haven't even considered going abroad because of all the stuff that's going on, so I just decided that I'm just gonna stay in England. I've done 2 Weymouth holidays this year, or I will be. I'm going to Weymouth in a week or so, so that's what I'm spending my year doing. I started with not a lot of money. Mind, I'm nowhere near as popular as your page, but I almost hit 1,000 likes on my baking page on Facebook, which I'm buzzing about. That's really good. I haven't got 1,000 likes on my Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook, but yeah, that's really good. You should promote more on Facebook if that's something that is more popular. I'm more popular on Instagram, so I just don't really use Facebook. It's my dad's wedding on Saturday, and they offered me to bake their cake, but I was too scared of letting them down. No, you should have taken that. I feel like that was probably your dad trying to give you the opportunity. If anyone offers you any kind of opportunity like that, take it, because it's good experience. The reason that he's given it to you is because he wants to help you out, and also because he wouldn't have given it to you if he wasn't happy with your bakes. He'll probably know that obviously you're starting out, you're a beginner, so it wouldn't necessarily be the same quality as someone that is like 5 years a wedding baker, but he obviously wanted you to do it. So I would say that if someone gives you the opportunity, definitely take it, because if they've seen your work, then they know what you're capable of. So yeah, definitely, you should have done it. I love that colour of icing. Oh, me too. It's meant to be like a gold, because you can't actually do gold icing. So whenever people ask for a gold ombre, this is what we go for. It's kind of like a caramelly colour. I've only ever done it on 4-inch cakes, but I've got this twice this week. I've got one tomorrow that I've got to do when I get back from Penfest at like midnight. And then I've got a wedding the next day as well. So Saturday is going to be very tiring because I've got a wedding, I would have had not very much sleep, and I've got a cake to do. So that will be interesting. I've actually got loads of this left in there. I just don't have enough in my piping bag. So do you freeze leftover buttercream for use later? I usually don't have any leftover because I cover my board, so I usually use the leftovers on that. But if I do, I leave it in the fridge and try and use it within the next like few days. But yeah, like I say, I don't usually have much left over. And I don't freeze it because I don't really know what I'm doing, so I don't want to freeze it and then I don't do it right. Right, onto the sides. What kind of cake is it? This is a salted caramel chocolate cake. So it's chocolate cake and then it's got salted caramel icing, and then it's an ombre and it's got a drip on it. I just need to wash this. What is the colour name of that goldy colour? It's called Soft Caramel. And I love it, it's my favourite. It's Colour Splash. Whenever I bake, I always have to listen to music or a podcast. Frenemies, my favourite. I love Frenemies. I love the H3 podcast so much. I find normal buttercream 1 part butter, 2 parts icing sugar, teeth grindingly sweet and sickly. Any tips? I use salted butter. I have never used unsalted because I find it way too sweet. I'd recommend that as the first thing that you change. Usually when people find it too sweet, it's because it's got unsalted butter in it. The salt counteracts the sweet, so that's why you want to use the salted one. I'm sad Frenemies is finished. Had to listen to the old ones. I'm not too sad it's finished, only because as much as it's a very controversial topic, I found that Trisha was a little bit kind of like rude throughout the Frenemies podcast, and I kind of like went off her. I used to really like her, but I kind of went off her the more it went on. So I'm kind of glad that they're kind of doing their own thing, and it's now called like Families, is that right? So he does it with his mum. So I think it will be interesting to see where it goes. So that is the front. Right, so that is all smooth. I just need to do the top. So that is all ready. Oh, it is so hot in here. It is. It says it's 30 degrees in this kitchen. I am dying. We're gonna have a little intermission just whilst I relax a little bit. So let me answer. Because Trisha is horrible. I don't want to say it because I know some people like her, but yeah, basically she's very rude. I do like her, but yeah, she can be very rude. Oh my god, the same. She switches up so much. She comes for people all the time, but as soon as it's on her, she's never in the wrong. Exactly. Sorry, it's not bacon related. Your icing looks so pretty. How long did it take you to get good at it? It used to take me like an hour to just ice a cake, and I mean like an hour to crumb coat, an hour to do what I just did. Obviously I'm answering questions, so it takes a little longer, but when I have timed myself, it usually takes me about 15 minutes to do a coat on a cake. So it's usually pretty quick, but it definitely used to take me longer. I find that the more cakes you ice, the quicker you get. And also, if you're in a rush, you're going to be a lot quicker than if you're not in a rush. I have 3 cakes to do by midnight, so I'm in a rush. But if I wasn't in a rush, then I'd probably take even longer. What's frenemies? Type it into YouTube. It's a podcast with Ethan and Trisha Paytas. They're American YouTubers, but if you're into YouTube, then you might come across them. But yeah, I used to love it. Have you ever gone in with the wrong side of the scraper? I don't think I have. No, I don't think I've done that one. I do it all the time though, where I get my scraper and I've done the top and I go to pick it up at the sides and I jab the scraper where I haven't put it down, or if I'm like moving the cake around and I accidentally hit it with the scraper, I always do it. So I always gash my cakes even when they're like perfect. So that's why I try and get them in the fridge as quick as possible, because then they will be nice and set. Do you feel that you waste a lot of buttercream, or do you have lots of excess, or have a lot of excess that you can't use? Very rarely. Like I say, pretty much all of my cakes, it's very rare that cakes don't have a covered board. Recently they've all got covered boards, and what I typically do is, if I'm making a batch just for the sake of it, so say like I have to cover some boards tonight, so I'm going to need more than I've got. So what I do is I make it a plain flavour, so I don't add any flavouring to it, and then it means that I can change it. So like if I needed to change it to a different flavour, then I can if I want to. So I would say for things like covered boards, it doesn't need to be flavoured, because they've got the flavouring of the cake. It's not like they don't have to have flavouring in the board icing. So you can make a batch of buttercream and then split it. That's what I do, and then that way I get less wastage, because then I can add flavouring to it if I use it on another cake, so it doesn't go to waste. But most of the time I typically just eyeball buttercream, but like I like today, I already know that I'm gonna either run out or I'm gonna use all of this, so I know it's not gonna go to waste, because it probably will be used on the boards. So anything that isn't used on the cakes will be used to cover the board, so then it won't go to waste. But like I say, if you make plain buttercream and then split it into portions, then it means that you can use it at a later date, or you can use it for something else. So yeah, you don't have to worry. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I'm 21 and I'm 22 in about 4 weeks. 4 weeks yesterday. So yeah, my birthday's the 18th of August. That was me, I think. I spilled some water. Hello to anyone joining. I don't think I've ever had 29 people in here all at once. I think usually it's around 20. Anyone just joining, the cakes are all in the fridge, and then they've all had their final coat, they just need all their drips, so we're going to move on to that in a minute. So we're currently just letting them set a little bit. So I'm going to do the drips first, then they'll all go back in the fridge because it's too hot to have them out for very long. And then we will do all the decorations on the top, but we're actually doing very well for time. I could, like some of them I could do the decorations in the morning. One of them's coming at 9, so I'm probably going to get hers done tonight, because I don't want her to come at 9 and I'm not ready. But the others are coming around 10, so I've got a bit more time with those. Thanks for your videos, you help me a lot. Oh, thank you. Good luck on the stream. I come here from time to time, wish you all the best. Thank you. Are you going to have a big party with a big cake? I'd love to see how you do it. I'm going to do a live for my birthday cake. I am going to do a multiple tier cake. However, they're probably going to be dummies, so I'm probably going to... yes, I'm making my own birthday cake. So yeah, they're probably going to be dummies because I'm not going to need loads of cake. But yeah, I'm probably going to do it for like a family get together, and then I will eat the cake over the days afterwards. So yeah, it'll probably be maybe like 2 dummies and then 1 actual cake. How elastic are your products? What do you mean elastic? Is that like a correction for something else? Make your own cake. Yes, I will be making my own cake. Oh, 32 people on the live. Hello guys. Yeah, all the cakes are in the fridge, so we're going to move on to the drips now. I'm going to move all of these bowls out of the way. That one's fine. Right. So, for the Biscoff cake, we're going to be doing a Biscoff drip. So what I do is literally just melt Biscoff and pour it down the cake. So that will be that one. The other one is a white chocolate drip. So we're going to be doing white chocolate spread. You melt it, drip it down the side of the cake. And then the vegan one is going to be the only one that's different. So the vegan one will be chocolate, and it's my old recipe, which I don't do unless it's like a dietary requirement kind of cake. I usually either use chocolate spread or white chocolate spread, but because I'm using vegan chocolate and they don't do a vegan chocolate spread, I'm going to be doing vegan chocolate. So it's vegan chocolate, a little bit of vegetable oil, and then the colouring of choice. So the oil acts as like a kind of like liquid to make it a bit runny, but it doesn't seize it, whereas if you add water, then it will just seize and go hard. So we're going to do that one last because that's going to be the most pain kind of one. They have Biscoff spread in Aldi for £1.50. I think it tastes the same apparently. It probably does. I'm just not sure, because obviously I charge for my costs, so I cost into the fact that I'm using kind of like branded chocolate, but it's a bit difficult. Basically, you can't label stuff as a flavour if it isn't the official item. So you have to be careful with things like Nutella. So I only use branded Nutella. You can buy a cheaper one in Aldi, which I have seen in there, but then when I did a bit of research, I realised that you can't use things that aren't brand name and call them brand name. So it basically means if you're going to say this is a Biscoff brownie, you have to say that it is a whatever this is, so like a cinnamon biscuit brownie. Basically, you can't call it Biscoff because it's not official. So that's why you have to be a little bit careful. It's a bit of faff, but like I say, if you charge based on the fact that you're using a jar of Biscoff, then you don't have anything to worry about because the customer's going to be paying for the fact that you're buying this. So yeah, you don't have to worry so much. But like I say, if you don't charge for that, then you're going to be out of pocket because you're using the brand. It's a bit dirty, but it's the Free From Kitchen Co. It's the nicest one I found, and yeah, I just mix it with vegetable oil. So where is our white chocolate spread? My drawer's broken. That drawer down there, it's broken. So that's annoying. So I need to fix that because like literally the weight of the drawer, it's where I've got too much like jars. I have all my jars of like chocolate spread and stuff in there and it's just too heavy. So I need to fix that at some point. Elasticity is the sensitivity of the demand as a result of a change in price. I'm sorry, I have no idea. Do you change the price on how many consumers will keep buying it? Changing quantity divided by price plus price. It doesn't really come into it for my kind of thing, I don't think. If you change the price based on how many consumers will keep buying it, yeah, because then you're going to be losing money because you're selling more items. And also it's not really fair to people because I'm assuming that would mean that you'd put the price down if more people buy it, which means that the person that bought it first is going to be paying more than the person that bought it last. So I don't think that would work for my sort of thing. I've almost break multiple shows with the weight of my baking ingredients. I know, those are new drawers as well. They cost me like £100 for 6 drawers. They were really, really expensive. Not baking related, but I love your dress. Where is it from? It's from New Look. This is the like dress. It's like really long. But yeah, it's really cute. It's good for summer, but yeah, it's New Look. Right. I'm going to melt this. I need a little bit more than I've got in here, so I'm going to add a little bit more. But yeah, white chocolate spread from Tesco's. I'm really gutted about that drawer. It was giving me signs that it was going to break and I kept leaving the stuff in it, and then now it's completely broken. Like I can just see that the drawer is like that and all my ingredients are like in my bottom drawer. So yeah, that's really sad. Oh my god, it's so broken, so broken. Let's not think about it. Right, I'm gonna go and get my white chocolate spread because it's finished. Are you silver? I think you're gold. Right. How many days a week are you baking / decorating? I work every day. If I have orders every day, then I'll work every day. But yeah, most of the time it's like 5 or 6 days. I'm so sad at work. I work at a keto bakery and my boss is losing loads because she's giving 75% discount. At least I know how to not run a business. Yeah, that is a huge discount because that means that you'll be making no money, because obviously you're gonna, the cost of ingredients is like 25%, so it means that you'll be making no profit on the item. Right. So, white drip, yeah. Oh my god, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say anything about the windows. I'm already conscious enough. Yeah, I don't like looking out of windows when it's dark. You must have read my mind, because yeah, that is one thing that I absolutely hate. Funny enough though, my parents were away for a couple of weeks and I didn't have any issues. Like, I was fine being at home alone, but I was definitely worried that I might just be scared that someone's going to break in at all times. But yeah, luckily we survived. We were fine. Sorry guys, this requires so much concentration. There we go. So, you're the front. You have a tattoo on the back of your arm. Yes, I do. Yes. Butterfly. I've started making the buttercream for it. Do you have any tips to make it better? I would just, I don't know. What was wrong with it before, the buttercream? Yeah, what was wrong with the buttercream before? Your drips are so pretty, by the way. Thank you. Right. We are doing drip decoration now. It could be stiffer. So I would say add more icing sugar if it's not stiff enough. Right, that is all done in terms of drip. As you can see, there is the top, and then goes all the way around, obviously. And then I don't know if you can see, but on the drip there is sprinkles on there. So yeah, that is that one done. Right, we are going to do, because it's getting late and obviously I need to work quicker, I'm going to do the final decorations on my own, off of live, because we've been going for quite a while, but I will do the drips. So I'm going to do the 2 more drips and the sprinkles that are needed on them, and then I will be finishing, so probably in about 15 minutes. I don't want to make it too sweet. Trust me, it won't be too sweet. The icing sugar obviously makes it sweet, but if you're using like salted butter, then that will help it not be too sweet. But yeah, you don't want it to be soft, because as soon as it's out in the heat, which it will be, like even if it's just an hour, then it's going to start to melt because it's not stiff enough. So yeah, if there's too much butter and not enough icing sugar, then it will start to melt and it will be a lot softer in the heat than a cake that's got stiffer buttercream. Right, I'm gonna go and get the Biscoff. So we have the Biscoff spread. This one I've got free reign on, so I'm very excited about the final decorations on this one. What I'm going to do, basically I haven't vlogged this live because I felt like it was going to be double footage, but what I'm going to do is in the day in the life, I'm going to film the final decorations on all these cakes. So then it means that if you want to see the final decorations, then go and watch the day in the life, and then obviously if you've been watching the live, then you would have seen the main like icing and everything of them. I think that's just the easiest way to do it, because I'm using my tripod to do my phone, so I can't use it for my camera, so it's a bit of a pain, but yeah. Right. can you record you decorating the top of the cakes and upload it later, please? So I don't know whether you heard a minute ago, but I'm going to record me decorating the tops and then put it in the day in the life video that I'm doing. So that will be going up next week. That will go up on, I think it's Friday next week, because I've already got a video for Tuesday. So yeah, that will go up on Friday, I think. Yeah. It will be quite late. Obviously this video is being filmed this week, so it's a week, but yeah, unfortunately I don't have the schedule to put it up sooner, unless I put it up as an extra video, which I might, but we will see. It's Thursday. I usually do my lives on Friday, but I just but I'm going to a festival tomorrow, so I had 3 cakes to do tonight, so I thought I'd go live instead tonight. Right, that is another one done. So that is what it looks like. And then on the top we got sprinkles, and on the drips we got gold sprinkles. Right. I use your tip and the icing is perfect. Oh, perfect. Right, so the last thing we need to do is melt this vegan chocolate, and then we are going to be dripping that on the cake. So the chocolate is just in the microwave. Where are you from? I'm from Buckinghamshire. So am I. I'm in Buckinghamshire. That Biscoff cake looks amazing. Is it actual sponge Biscoff flavoured? If so, how do you flavour it? Yeah, it is Biscoff. The recipe that I use has Biscoff spread in it and biscuits, so that's how you get it flavoured. And then the icing is also Biscoff flavoured, and there's melted Biscoff in it and broken up biscuits in between each layer. What's your new mixer like? It's okay. There will be a review coming up in about a week, but it's not too bad. I prefer it for mixing cakes. It's a little bit slow for mixing buttercream, but that's because I'm used to the KitchenAid, which is obviously faster, and it has a paddle This is the paddle that it has, but it's got the silicone edge, which obviously scrapes the bowl for you, so it means that you don't have to stop and scrape the sides of the bowl, which I have to do with that, so it's a bit of a pain for Buttercream, but apart from that, it's actually quite good. No Way I'm in Olney. I have no idea where that is. I'm in Aylesbury, so I'm near, like not far from like Milton Keynes, like Bicester, that kind of area. I'm in Northern Ireland, and we have Biscoff sausages. That's so interesting. What's the wee planner up on the fridge? I don't think it's got any names on it, so we're fine. It's my cake plan. So yeah. They don't even sell Biscoff in the US. That's crazy. I'm 15 minutes from MK. Yeah, you're not far. But yeah, this is my cake plan, so I know what I'm doing. Right. Right, so we have our melted chocolate here. I'm hoping this goes well, fingers crossed. It needs to be pink, so that's crazy. I used to go to MK all the time. Yeah, it's not too far from me. MK is about 40 minutes from me. I've only had it once, wish they would bring it to the US. Are you planning on doing your clay products again? Someone asked this earlier. I'm actually moving to resin. I will be doing the clay, but I just don't have the time at the moment to do the clay, so I'm going to be doing some resin pieces which are related to cakes, because resin is non-toxic, so it means that it's food safe, whereas the clay that I use isn't food safe, so I can't use it for like kitchen based items, whereas I can with the resin. So we're going to be doing a few baking related items, or like kind of homeware related, and then it means that they can be used for like food and stuff, so you'll get what I mean when I release them. But I'm going to be trialing them out this weekend, and the new merch comes out next month, so I'm thinking that I might try and do it at the same time as the new merch, so they come out together. Right, we're going to try and use this colouring. I don't want to put too much in, so because I don't want it to go wrong. Right, let's try that. That has done like nothing. It's because I needed a vegan colouring, so it's not my usual colour mill, so because colour mill pinks aren't vegan, so it means that I have to use something which isn't colour mill, and I usually only use colour mill for my drips, so it's a bit more risky because it could seize. So let's keep our fingers crossed. It's also a slightly different shade of pink, but it's all right. So perfect. Okay, right, let's get this on. Oh, we're going down the side of the glass. That's not good. Right, let's get this on this cake. So that is the front. The only difference is that the drip is a bit darker. So that's not too bad considering it is a vegan drip. I will show you my craft room and heat press because I actually reorganised my office, so I will make sure to do a little video on that. How many cakes have you done in one day, 24 hours? I had one weekend where I had 8 cakes going out in the space of 2 days, and I had to bake them all on the same days because they obviously needed to all be decorated. And when your time's split over more cakes, then you have to start earlier, because I had to bake them all 2 days in advance so that I could make sure I do all the decorating the next day. So yeah, I've had 8 cakes in one day, which was crazy, but I managed to do it. So how do you know how much oil to put in? I just wing it like everything. I just eyeball it until it's as runny as I want it to be. So I'm not going to worry about doing the middle too much unless I have enough chocolate, because it's going to be covered. I only do it with the others because I know that I have plenty of chocolate, but I've got a limited amount of vegan chocolate, so that's why I'm being more careful with this. I think we are going to have plenty though. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Last drip. I need I got a tiny bit of drip on the buttercream, so I was just using a cocktail stick to try and like get it out so that it wouldn't damage the look of it. Right, so we have separate sprinkles for this one because it's vegan, so I'm using Happy Sprinkles, and there you go, on the back it just says vegan. Right, so this is the vegan one. So it's got sprinkles on top, drips going down, back in the fridge. Right, so that is everything for this live. I look so shiny because it's so hot in here. I'm going to do a little tidy up, and then I'm going to be starting on all the final decorations. But it is 11:15, so we're not doing bad for time. It probably won't take me too long to actually do the final decorations. I need to message this person because I still don't have the bottles for the vegan cake, so I can't actually do the final decorations until I have those. So I need to message them to say, like, I either need them tonight or very early tomorrow morning. So yeah, I need to do that. So that's kind of like one of the main reasons I need to come off live, because I need to message them, and I can't do that while I'm on live. But I will include all of the final decorations in the vlog, which comes out next week, so you will be able to see how they ended up finished, and you'll also see the photos over this weekend. So if you go and follow my Instagram, then you can go and look at all the photos on there, and you'll be able to see them before the vlog comes out. I'll just answer the last questions that are here. On average, how much do you make a week from selling cakes and bakes? It would be such a rough guess. For example, that weekend where I had 8 cakes in 2 days, I actually had 12 cakes over the whole weekend, over 3 days. And that was about £800 in cakes. So you can get a rough idea. So say I have 3 cakes today, that's about £200 in a day. So you can like kind of guess. But if I'm completely honest, it changes so much because it depends how many cakes and orders you have. Fave cake you've ever made? It's probably the pink one that I'm making it vegan, which makes it slightly different, but you would have seen that pink cake that I did recently, the pink and white drip. It's actually here, this one. That cake, I've made it twice now. I'm making it once today, and then I'm making it again in a couple of weeks. So it's my favourite cake because it's ordered most. I'm showing my cake on Insta. Ooh, can you tag me? Tag me, like, if you comment on your photo and tag me, and then I'll go and have a look at it. Well done, great live. Thank you, guys. Well, like I say, if you haven't already, then please like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and I will see you tomorrow. There's a video going up, which is the unboxing of the mixer, so you'll be able to see that. That's already premiering, so you can go and like it now and then set your reminders, and then you'll get notified when it actually goes live tomorrow. But yeah, that is my next video, and then there's a podcast on Sunday. And then my video with my mum on Tuesday, which is the bake-off. So I will see you in my next video. Bye!